It's a parent's worst nightmare. One second your child is there, laughing, playing, safe in your arms. The next, silence. An empty room. A missing backpack. No trace of where they went. In the United States, this nightmare isn't rare. It happens every single day. Thousands of children vanish each year, leaving behind devastated families and unanswered questions. Some are found quickly. Others return after days, weeks, or even years. But too many never come back at all. Tonight, we're diving into the hidden truth about missing children in America. Beyond the headlines, beyond the quick sound bites, there's a deeper story. One about how children disappear, the system's failures, and the haunting cases that remain unsolved decades later. By the end, you'll see why this crisis isn't just about numbers. It is about the lives of children who could be living on your street, attending your child's school, or playing at your local park. And the question remains, how does a child simply vanish in a country like the United States? Let's start with the data. According to the FBI's National Crime Information Center, more than 300,000 children are reported missing every single year in the U.S. That's almost the population of a large city, vanishing annually. Now, some of these cases are quickly resolved. A teenager sneaks out and comes back the next day. A child gets lost at a mall and is reunited with parents within hours. But those cases done, erase the terror of the moment when a parent realizes their child is gone. The frightening truth: roughly 1 in 6 children reported missing are still unaccounted for after a year. And while many assume it won't happen to me, the reality is that disappearances happen across all races, all classes, and all neighborhoods. The sheer volume of cases overwhelms law enforcement. Every 2 minutes, another parent dials 911 to report a missing child. But with so many reports flooding in, authorities are often forced to prioritize, leaving some families feeling abandoned in their search for answers. Experts classify missing children cases into 3 main categories. Family abductions. These happen when a relative, often in the middle of a bitter custody battle, takes the child. While some see this as less serious, psychologists argue the trauma can be just as severe. The child is ripped away from stability and often manipulated against the other parent. Runaways. This is the largest category. Kids fleeing from abusive homes, bullying, or neglect. On the surface, it may look like a choice, but behind almost every runaway case is a story of pain and desperation. Non-family abductions, the rarest but most feared. These are the cases where a stranger takes a child. They're the ones that make national headlines, sparking Amber Alerts and nationwide searches. And unfortunately, these are also the cases most likely to end in tragedy. Understanding these categories helps us see the scope of the crisis. But numbers alone can't capture the devastation. For that, we need to look at the stories of the children themselves. The case of Etan Patz. It's May 25, 1979. In New York City, 6-year-old Etan Patz leaves his home to walk to the school bus stop for the very first time. He never makes it. His disappearance shocked the country. At the time, America wasn't used to hearing about kids vanishing without a trace. Etan's parents plastered his face across the city. His photo became one of the first to appear on milk cartons nationwide, turning him into a symbol of missing children. For decades, his case remained unsolved, haunting investigators and parents alike. Finally, in 2017, nearly 40 years later, a man named Pedro Hernandez was convicted of Etan's kidnapping and murder after confessing to luring the boy into a basement. But for 38 years, Etan's parents lived in torment, never knowing if their child was alive. His story didn't just change their lives, it changed America. May 25th is now recognized as National Missing Children's Day, and his case marked the beginning of a national movement to protect kids. The emotional toll on families. Imagine walking into your child's room after they've vanished. The bed is still unmade, their favorite toy still on the floor, the smell of their shampoo still lingering in the air. Everything is the same, except for the child. Psychologists call this ambiguous loss. Unlike death, where grief has a defined path, parents of missing children live in limbo. They can't grieve, but they can't move forward either. Every ring of the phone feels like it could be the call that changes everything. Every knock at the door could bring news, good or devastating. Many parents describe it as torture. Some marriages collapse under the strain. Others devote their lives to searching, creating foundations, or lobbying for better laws. The emotional toll isn't just on parents. Siblings often grow up overshadowed by the loss, struggling with guilt and confusion. This pain doesn't fade with time. It lingers, sometimes for decades, because until a child is found, the story has no end. The case of Elizabeth Smart. In June 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was taken from her bedroom in Salt Lake City, Utah, while her younger sister watched in horror. For 9 months, Elizabeth lived in captivity, subjected to abuse, disguised in plain sight while the nation searched for her. Her rescue came when 2 people recognized her walking with her abductors on a busy street. Unlike many cases, Elizabeth's story ended in survival, and she went on to become a powerful advocate for victims. Her testimony reminds us that even in the darkest cases, survival is possible. But Elizabeth's story also reveals a frightening truth. Abductors often hide in plain sight, blending into society while holding a child captive. The runaway crisis. While cases like Elizabeth's dominate headlines, the majority of missing children in America are runaways. And this is where the crisis deepens. Studies show that nearly 1 in 7 runaways fall victim to sex trafficking. Many leave abusive homes only to be exploited by predators waiting to groom them. These children rarely get the same media attention as abductions. They're often labeled as rebellious teens instead of vulnerable victims. That label shifts blame onto them, ignoring the violence, neglect, or poverty that forced them to run in the first place. This lack of attention creates a dangerous cycle. Runaways become invisible, and predators take advantage of that invisibility. The case of Jaycee Dugard. In 1991, 11-year-old Jaycee Lee Dugard was abducted on her way to school in South Lake Tahoe, California. She disappeared without a trace, and for 18 years, her family searched desperately. Jaycee wasn't found until 2009, when she walked into a parole office with her captors. For nearly 2 decades, she had been held in a backyard compound by Philip and Nancy Garrido, enduring unimaginable abuse. Her case exposed massive failures in the system. Authorities had visited the Garridos multiple times but never discovered Jaycee. Her survival is nothing short of miraculous. But her lost childhood is a chilling reminder of how long some kids remain hidden. The U.S. has tools like Amber Alerts, designed to mobilize communities instantly. They light up highways, phones, and TVs, spreading descriptions of missing kids within minutes. But here's the problem. Amber Alerts only apply under strict conditions: confirmed abduction, child under 17, and imminent danger. That leaves out most runaways and even some family abductions. Families often feel abandoned when their cases don't meet these criteria. Meanwhile, law enforcement agencies are stretched thin. With hundreds of thousands of cases annually, they can't devote equal resources to each one. This creates a system where some children are prioritized, while others fade into silence. The internet has added a terrifying new layer to the crisis. The dark web fuels trafficking networks where images of missing children are traded like currency. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, analyzes millions of images every year, trying to identify victims. Forensic experts examine the tiniest details, like a poster on the wall or a logo on clothing, to track locations. Sometimes these clues rescue children, but the scale of online exploitation is overwhelming. For every child rescued, countless others remain trapped. It's a fight where technology evolves faster than the laws meant to protect kids. Amid the darkness, there are sparks of hope. In 2021, a 13-year-old girl in North Carolina was rescued after using a hand signal, popularized on TikTok, to show she was in danger. A driver noticed, called the police, and saved her life. These moments remind us that awareness works. That one alert neighbor, One observant driver, one person who pays attention can change everything. Every recovered child is a victory, not just for their family, but for all who refuse to stop searching. The crisis of missing children in the U.S. is vast. Some stories end in reunions, others in heartbreak, and too many remain unresolved. But here's the truth. We all have a role to play. If you see something suspicious, report it. If you hear a cry for help, listen. And if you share the story of a missing child, you keep their name alive, refusing to let them fade into silence. Because in the fight against disappearance, awareness is the strongest weapon we have. And maybe, just maybe, your action could bring one child home.